gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Comrade! Labor right, them a go down, bong. Them a go down, bong. Them a go down. Is that? Margie, him a God picking. No hope their work if you touch Margie. Margie, him a God picking. No hope their work if you touch Margie. We now vote for Labour. Orange we a come out in now. If you love the PNP, who no step out for Marky G. Jamaica just come along with we. People time come, people time come, people time is up.
Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
Yeah, I say that we are. Pledge your allegiance.
Who's gonna run this town tonight?
Yeah, I say that we are.
We gonna run this town.
Make the trumpets play. Make the trumpets play.
Going to this clip here. And this clip, I'm going to play it because it is coming from a media house that will not do anything to damage the Prime Minister's reputation. So this clip I'm going to play is from Nationwide. Listen to this.
Investigation concludes that the breaches were deliberate and that the directors of Estate Bridge are liable. The DI also concludes that the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation failed to effectively discharge their responsibilities to ensure compliance with the terms of the approvals granted. If we could just go to the background, that's chapter 2 of the report. It says this chapter sets out the background information concerning the allegations, initiation of the investigation, and jurisdiction. The allegations, listeners, on July 10, 2024, the following allegations were received. That Mr. Holness is the owner of property on which construction is being carried out contrary to the terms of the planning approval and building permit granted by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, the KCMC. That Mr. Holness often requests the service from his architect to draw a blueprint that will be sent to KCMC. However, a second blueprint will be drawn that will be used for the actual construction. It is said that this was done at one of his developments in Beverly Hills / Cherry Gardens. And it continues. On July 11, 2024, the Director of Investigation undertook an unannounced visit to KCMC to inquire as to whether Dr. Holness had directly or indirectly applied for a building permit or permits for a development in Beverly Hills / Cherry Gardens. The DI's inquiries revealed that the only development in this area that Dr. Holness was in some way connected with is a residential development located at 2 Wycliffe Close, Beverly Hills, Kingston 6, St. Andrew, and that this was owned by Estate Bridge. Further inquiries were therefore made into this development and an investigation initiated. The individuals pertinent to the Integrity Commission's investigation, the following individuals are named. Xavier Chavans, the Chief Engineering Officer at the KCMC. Mr. Roshane Hamilton, Field Officer at the KCMC. Orion Brown, also a Field Officer at the KCMC. Mr. Sean Martin, Field Officer at the KCMC. Kenado Nesbeth, KNN Designs and Consultants Limited. Mr. Norman Brown, Mr. J. Anderson, and Mr. Adam Holness, directors and shareholders of Estate Bridge. And that Adam Holness would be the Prime Minister's son, I'm imagining. Well, could be. Donovan Williams, Company Secretary of Estate Bridge, and Dr. Holness, the legal and beneficial owner of Imperium Investments Holdings Limited, which is a former shareholder of Estate Bridge.
Jamaica deserves better. Remember what he did to Richard Azan in Spalding, and what Richard Azan did was to do something, was to go around the bureaucracy and do something to benefit the people who needed it, poor people. And they said, even though it was poor people benefiting, it was a dark day. So from then we should realize that he really had no vision for the Jamaican people. And, you know, again, going back to today and what the significance of today, December 10th. And I listened to Prime Minister of Barbados, Mayor Motley's speech, and I thought to myself, this sounds like a speech that other prime ministers in Jamaica could give, but not Andrew Holness. Not Andrew Holness. And it's a shame. He doesn't have the depth, he has no vision, and I don't know what his purpose is outside of enriching himself. And I don't think he was in that space, and I don't think he was qualified to be in that space because it would have been an indictment on him to sit in that space and hear how another leader speaks so eloquently about what it means to be a leader and how Michael Manley set that standard, which she, as a little girl, embraced and is now on the world stage. The way she conducts herself, if you just shut your eyes, you can see Michael Manley making the same kind of pronouncements that she is on the world stage. Where is our leader? Where is Andrew Holness? And we look at so many things happening on the international stage where the voice of the Jamaican leader should be more pronounced and effective and leading a charge of this is our position, and we do not see that. But you know what we see? We see an IC report that came out a few months ago at the end of June, and it's about him. It's about him violating, not being transparent with the Integrity Commission. Yesterday was International Corruption Day. He didn't give the speech that he normally gives. What we see today is a report, another report about corruption. Ratty just spoke about his wife's major project and all those violations. But what Rattigan didn't also talk about was the environmental aspect of her project and what the effects, not the short term, the medium to long term effects that will have on the community of Leeds Flat. And nobody seems to care. These reports just come out and the local media just talk about it, becomes a news headline, and it is the social media space that has to be beating the drum on these issues so the Jamaican people understand that they have a leader who doesn't care for them or about them, yet he only wants them to vote him back into office, vote his illicit 6, 8, 9, 10 back into office. Don't worry, don't look over here, nothing to see here. Forget that your schools are broken, forget the hospitals on the road, forget that there's $1 trillion accountability problem. Forget all of those things. And the reason we know those monies aren't accounted for is that we see the broken infrastructure. It's obvious, it is in everybody's faces. It's written about. Rainfall, the hospital is a dry where the hospital, the roof leaks, and the nurses have to be bailing the water out. So we look at those things and you have to ask the question, when is he going to have some shame and just resign? When is the Jamaica Labour Party going to come forward and find a leader and it's not even about a no confidence vote at this time, because the man is a dead weight on his own party. When are they going to say, you know something, the party is bigger than one individual, and do something about it? Replace him. Do I see anybody else in the party who is qualified to be the leader? No, because they're all in the same boat. Because if you're going to go with Tufton has a $650 billion accountability problem in his ministry. And he takes accountability for nothing. So I don't see who they're going to replace him, like stop shopping black dog for monkey. Don't see who they're going to replace him, but something has to be done. And if that isn't done, if they don't find a better leader for the party, then I say to the Jamaican people, you've got to wake up and realize that none of them care about you because Prime Minister is enriching himself. He's in violations all over. And remember now that it was Feder who was busy federating and doing all them things on a KSAMC that he couldn't even spend the money to clean up the markets downtown. He couldn't spend the money on that. And he was the mayor at the time when all of these violations of permits were happening. So it is right for them to go in and do some demolition. Fair is fair and right is right. Because if this was somebody else, they would have done that. So the law should apply equally. And I'm saying again, when the Jamaican people have to wake up and realize that they have to put themselves first now and not a political party. And they must now ask the Prime Minister the question, why should we vote for you given that your integrity has been so solid and shot? We have no faith in you. Why should we continue to support you?
Mystic, you're muted.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm not talking like killing, like everybody I hear me, Okay. So unprecedented, right, as it relates to what we have seen happening. We are now going to bring Jamaics in this space. But before I do, right, just to tell the Jamaican people, locally and in the diaspora, never in our history of our politics, none of our political leaders never under the scrutiny, right, from the IC or the Contractor General, Andrew Holness, unprecedentedly, right, take that record without any delay. Let me just bring in Jamaics in the space, young, brilliant, and talented Jamaics. Please.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you again, amongst great minds. Let me start by saying that I'm 31 years old. I've never voted, but we're in a very, very important time in our history. And it means that we're in an era where education is at our fingertip and we must use it wisely. As Mr. Rattigan said some time ago on his show, your finger is your power. We're experiencing a Jamaica where cronyism, kleptocracy is something that we're seeing on a daily basis. And a lot of people will hear the word kleptocracy and thinking, oh, it's just a big word. Break it down. It is corruption not just in one place, but it is a system of corruption. And as a result of that, the Jamaican people are seeing it. And corruption, people need to know this. It steals from the kids going to school. It steals from our health system. It steals from our roads being maintained. It steals from you being so unsafe in your society because corruption fuels violence. And when you don't have an educated society, we will see people like them just getting a chance to go around and to do whatever they want in Jamaica. And this needs to change. And it's good that we're in a space now where we can get information breaking down to us. Our local media has failed the Jamaican people by underreporting, misreporting, or not even care about how they bring the news. These days, when you look in the news, a lot of different distractions and a lot of foolishness they will have in the news, right? And let me just highlight something as well. Given that the people look at this government and say they will give you a handout with the $20,000, yeah, tax rebate as they call it. just the other day, just yesterday, there was something where scammers put up saying that the prime minister is giving out money. It is just the psychology and the atmosphere that we're living in. We're living in an atmosphere where the top of the stream is so dirty. So therefore, everybody doing what he has set as president over the country, which is corruption, cronyism, right? And you look at Jamaica, it's sharing resemblance of a failed state. When we look, we have a weak government in terms of setting clear laws when it comes down to corruption. We see widespread violence, and we don't feel safe in our country. We have economical collapse because we have two negative period of no growth or decline, 1.2, 2.8. So we're in a technical recession. This is a real thing. It's the reality that we're living in. Humanitarian crisis. We see that is violating the human rights on a daily basis, right? And we have a prime minister that is there breaching the policies of Jamaica over and over, and then you expect Jamaicans to fall in line and be disciplined people when you are telling the people subconsciously that it doesn't make sense holding the law. And I just want to remind our Jamaican people, as St. Augustine said, hope has two beautiful daughters, anger and courage. You have to be angry at the way things are and have courage that they don't remain as such. And these things we have to ensure that we have a voice today's day, right? And we as Jamaican